ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सह गणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिधि नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे. Just please give me a minute. Okay. So thank you everyone. Hare Krishna. Thank you for kindly participating. The Srimad Bhagavatam has a very beautiful verse in the first canto, second chapter, which uses a very specific term. And this term can really help all of us on the path of bhakti. It can help us to a great extent. We always keep thinking about why we are not making advancement, right? We are chanting the holy name, we are hearing Krishna Katha, we are going to the temple, we are attending programs. But what is that one thing missing, which is stopping me from making advancement? So that secret this verse has given. So you can all see, I will read and also share the reference. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 14. You can even pull it up on your own. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 14. तस्माद् एकेन मनसा भगवान् सात्वतां पतिः श्रोतव्यः कीर्तितव्यश्च ध्येय पूजश्च नित्यधा. I'll read it once more. तस्माद् एकेन मनसा भगवान् सात्वतां पतिः श्रोतव्यः कीर्तितव्यश्च ध्येय पूजश्च नित्यदा. तस्माद् एकेन मनसा भगवान् सात्वतां पतिः श्रोतव्यः कीर्तितव्यश्च ध्येय पूज्यश्च नित्यदा. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. So, tasmad, therefore, ekena manasa. How should the mind be? One pointed. Bhagavan Satvatam Patihi. One should worship Bhagavan, Krishna, or Ramachandra, Sri Hari, Vishnu, Narayana, Vishnu Tattva. Satvatam Patihi, he who is the protector of the Sattvatas, the devotees. And when we worship him, different ways of worshipping him are Shrotavyaha, by hearing about him, Kirtitavya, by doing Kirti, by chanting, by glorifying, Dhyeyaha, by remembering him, Pujyas, by doing puja, Nityada, constantly. So we are hearing about him, we are glorifying, we are chanting japa, we are doing kirtan, we are doing hari katha. Dhyeyaha, we remember the deities also. Pujya, we perform some puja and arati at home also. Then what is the missing link? The missing link is ekena manasa. This is the secret. The secret of making advancement on the path of bhakti is one-pointed absorption. We have to ask ourselves, are we absorbed while performing bhakti? We will discuss a few examples how this one-pointed absorption is very important. It's a very important topic, but what I will do is I will speak for some time, and then if there are questions, because there could be more questions in this topic. So we can open the floor. If there are questions, we can take later. We can see a very beautiful example of this in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Antya Leela, the last section of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is at Jagannath Puri, and he comes to take darshan of Sri Jagannath. And Jagannath always, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always stands behind what is called as the Garuda Stambha. There is a stambha, a pillar, commemorating Garudji. There is Garuda's deity there, and that is called Garuda Stambha. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would always stand behind the Garuda Stambha and take darshan of Jagannath. Why? Every temple you will see has some pure devotee in front of Krishna. You can see some temples have Hanuman, some temples have Garuda. In all ISKCON temples, you can see Prabhupada is there opposite the deity. Why? Because the pure devotees, they are Bhagavat Guna Darpanam. They are the mirror who reflect the transcendental glories of the Supreme Lord. Whatever qualities the Supreme Lord has, the pure devotees also have. So when Krishna looks at his pure devotees, he can see his own qualities, because they are constantly vibrating those qualities through their tongue, and they themselves have those qualities. Like, for example, Ramachandra is very merciful. Hanuman is also very merciful. You can see Narayana, Sri Vishnu, Narasimhadev, very powerful. Opposite, even Garuda is very powerful. So Garuda is sitting there glorifying the power potency of Narasimhadev or Narayana, yet at the same time he himself is powerful. Therefore he is the order carrier. Or we could say he is the order carrier, therefore he is empowered by the Lord and he is powerful. So you can see the pure devotees, they are glorifying the Lord, and at the same time they are exemplifying the qualities of the Lord. Therefore, when the Supreme Lord looks at them, three things happen. One, he can remember his own qualities because they have it. The pure devotees have it. Second, constant Harikatha goes on, because when pure devotees are there, they are speaking about Krishna, singing about Krishna. Wherever Hanumanji is there, he is always glorifying and singing the names of Sri Ramachandra. So when Sri Ramachandra is standing on the altar, first of all, he can see his own qualities in his pure devotees, and he feels very happy. Just like the parents feel very nice when the child looks like them or does something like them. When their qualities are carried by the child, the parents feel happy. So similarly, the Supreme Lord feels very blissful looking at how the pure devotees are carrying his qualities. Point number one. Point number two, constant Harikatha keeps going on. And this keeps the Lord and the devotee happy. And point number three, what happens is, looking at them, the Lord becomes very, very kind to everyone else. I'll give an example. When you have a cow, and the person who wants to milk the cow, he wants to milk the cow, so the cow is not ready. But if he keeps a calf in front, and the calf goes near the mother little, the mother cow immediately is ready to give her milk. So now the man will take the calf away and he will start milking the cow. This is how in villages they do. So similarly, the Supreme Lord is a cow. The pure devotees who are sitting in front, like Srila Prabhupada, Hanumanji, Garuda, etc., they are the calf. And all of us are desiring the milk of the Supreme Lord's mercy. So if we go, he may or may not give the milk of his mercy. The cow called the Supreme Lord, he may or may not give his mercy because we are not qualified. But when the calf is there in front, the pure devotees are there, automatically the heart of the calf has melted. Looking at Hanuman, Ramchandra is very, his heart has become like butter. Looking at Garudji, Narayana, Nrsimhadev, his heart has melted. Looking at Prabhupada, Krishna Balram, Gaur Nitai, Radha Krishna, their heart has melted. About how much Prabhupada has done for them. So then, once the heart has melted, if we go, then we get a lot of blessings. This is why in every temple, opposite the deity, Prabhupada is there. Lot of signs, right? In Vedic temples, why there is a pure devotee all the time, opposite the deities. so that we get the milk. The Supreme Lord is like the cow, the pure devotee is like the calf, and the milk is the mercy. So when we want it, we have to stand behind the calf. So once the calf goes, then we will get. So the reason why we are speaking all this is because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would stand behind Garuda and take darshan. Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his humility, he would think, Jagannath may or may not look at me. But he's always looking at Garuda, because Garuda is a pure devotee. If I stand behind Garuda, then I will also get his mercy. This is why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stood behind Garuda Stambha. Is everybody understanding? Why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if we had an in-person discussion, we could have had a test, written test. 10 marks, 10 points. Explain the reason why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stood behind Garuda. So this is one reason. Second reason is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very attached to Lord Jagannath, even more than Baldev and Subhadra. So when he stood behind Garudji, the angle was such that he could see only Jagannath. So that was also one personal reason. So when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would stand behind Garudji and take darshan of Lord Jagannath, it is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. One very old lady from Orissa, Orissan lady, she wanted to see Jagannath, but because she could not, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was standing and she was comparatively shorter in height and a lot of devotees were there. So she could not see Jagannath. What did she do? Without realizing where she's climbing, she climbed on top of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's shoulder. So one feet of this woman was on the shoulder of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Another feet was on Garuda Stambha. Think about it. With one feet, offense against the Supreme Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. With another feet, offense against the greatest devotee, Garuda. Bhakta Aparad. And so Bhagavat Aparad and Bhagavat Aparad, both at the same time. Bhagavat Aparad means aparad towards the Supreme Lord. Bhagavat Aparad means aparad towards the devotee. Both at the same time. So looking at this Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's servant Govinda, he got angry. He told the lady, hey, get down. What are you doing? Don't you know whom you're standing on? You're keeping your feet on top of the shoulder of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Is this how you behave? So the lady became very embarrassed. She got down and she said, sorry, I didn't realize. Sorry, I'm really sorry. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he intervened. He told his servant. He should have told Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could have told his servant, well done. You followed etiquette, right? But he said, don't behave like an Adivasi, like a tribal person. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was telling his own servant, saying, didn't you see the level of absorption that this Mataji had? She did not even realize whom she's climbing on. She climbed on. The lady then said, I'm really sorry. You are God and I am the devotee. You are male, I am female. You are a Brahmana. I am not. You are a sannyasi. I am just a household woman. By all this consideration, one should not even come close, right? Male and female should stand apart. Sannyasi, woman should not go and touch a sannyasi, let alone with her feet. Not possible, not correct. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, now you're saying all this, but when you climbed, you didn't even realize where you're climbing. Why? Because you were so absorbed. You could not see Jagannath. You wanted to see Jagannath. And for that you were ready to climb. It is so glorious. Does that mean that if we are not able to take darshan, we should stand on the devotees? Is that what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying? Is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying that when there is opportunity for darshan, we should push the devotees, because then we can show from this chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita that yes, I have eagerness. I am pushing the devotees, climbing on top of devotees. That's not the lesson. That's not the lesson. We should not do those things. If there is fight for taking darshan, we should let other devotees take darshan. Trust me, if we let other devotees take darshan, Krishna will be more interested in giving us darshan. than fighting through and going inside. What can our balls of flesh do? When we go and see, we are only fighting. We are fighting with the devotees and our eyelids are fighting and doing exercise. But we are not seeing the Supreme Lord. But if we let others take darshan first, without fighting, I will stand at the last, then Krishna will be very pleased. He will be interested in giving us darshan. But however, in this case, the example is quoted to tell us that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu really appreciated absorption. When there is Tasmad Ekena Manasa, we read that in the Bhagavatam, that if you read about Krishna, chant about Krishna, take darshan, speak about Krishna, hear about Krishna, worship Krishna with Ekena Manasa, with one pointed absorption and attention, then Krishna becomes pleased. And this is the example. Mahaprabhu was very pleased. He was very pleased with the Orison Mataji. Very, very pleased. Because she had one pointed absorption. So therefore we should note that if we want to please Krishna, we should be absorbed. We should be absorbed. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, Maya Sakta Manapartha Yogam Yunjan Madashraya Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yatha Nyasasi Tat Shrunu. 7th chapter, 1st verse. Krishna is telling Arjuna, Arjuna, please carefully listen. Now please tell me, the first 6 chapters, didn't Arjuna listen? Wasn't Arjuna listening already? He was listening. Then why Krishna is saying, hear attentively? To tell all of us that when there are messages given, we should attentively hear. Attentively. Carefully. Even after giving the message at the end, Krishna asks Arjuna, now that you have attentively heard from me, yathechasi tatha kuru. You may do as you like. But the point is, Krishna tells Arjuna, now that you have carefully heard from me, carefully hearing. So before the message, Krishna tells Arjuna, carefully hear. After the message of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, now that you have carefully heard. Very important. Sutta Goswami also in the Bhagavatam, he says, I am able to speak because I carefully heard. Yatha mati, yatha shrutam. Whatever I have heard and whatever I am able to remember, to the best of my ability, I am speaking. Which means I have carefully heard and I have collected it in my mind. Unfortunately, in the present generation, what material nature does is, she takes away this Ekena Manasa principle. She takes away absorption. On the pretext of multitasking, we are not able to focus. Like for example, when class is going on, we are washing dishes at that time, right? Or when japa time comes, we are talking to someone. When we have to sing kirtan, at that time we are doing japa. When the lead singer is singing, we are doing japa. And then when we have to repeat, we are repeating. But then when again the lead singer is singing, we are doing japa. Instead of being just absorbed in the holy name. We are trying to finish our rounds at that time. When we have to read about Krishna, we are reading. But at the same time, we are checking our phone and answering emails. Then we will say, while reading, let me just go and drink some water and come back. Then we will go, we will talk to someone. We'll open the fridge, take something from there. And then we get distracted. The book is open. We read little pages of Prabhupada's book, then we keep that book aside, we pick up another book, then another few more pages, we keep it aside, and then another book. Or same book, we again restart because we are not understanding. And why we are not understanding? Because we are distracted. We should never take breaks. 45 minutes we should sit. If we are reading means we are reading. Japa means japa, nothing else, no talking. We are sitting and chanting japa. This is service to Krishna. If we are hearing Hari Katha, we are only hearing Hari Katha. We don't want to do anything. We want to catch the message. Not hearing also and doing something else also. We are driving also and hearing also. Let's say we are driving to work and at that time we are hearing Hari Katha. That's another thing. We are trying to utilize the time. Right? If we are, let's say, washing dishes, we are washing dishes and at that time we put some kirtan or some class. That is fine. But during the time when we actually attentively have to sit and hear, that time trying to combine some other work on the pretext of saving time, that is not good. Does this make sense? When we are going to a store, we can chant Hare Krishna, no problem. We can take our clicker, our counter, and we can chant Hare Krishna, no problem. Why it is allowed? Because we are trying to utilize that time. But when the time to chant comes, that time we should not go to shop. When we are going to shop, we can add Krishna there, no problem. But when it is time for exclusively calling out to Krishna, we should exclusively call out. Ekena manasa, one-pointed. You see this Orison lady, why Mahaprabhu appreciated? Because she had this one-pointed spirit. This is very important. While worshipping the deity, only worship the deity. Pray to Krishna, sing songs for him, massage him with, very scented oils. And while doing kirtan, do kirtan. Just like when we are doing a yajna, we don't get up. If let's say we are doing yajna and then we are giving ahuti in the yajna, do we get up in the middle, walk around, again come and again do? No. During a yajna, you have to sit. Only after it is done, we can get up. Similarly, reading shastra is a yajna. Worshipping the deity is a yajna. Chanting japa is a yajna. One very exalted Prabhupada disciple, one Maharaj, he's so strict about this principle. I personally saw, I once got chance to sit and chant with that sannyasi, Maharaj. He told me, why don't you come and sit and chant? Probably he realized that my chanting is not good. So if I sit with Maharaj and I chant, then I will learn something. So he was very kind. He told me, why don't you sit and chant with me? I said, okay. There I saw, so he was sitting and chanting, and one person in the middle came and interrupted the chanting. He asked some question which was relevant also. So what did Maharaj do? He kept his beads outside and he spoke to the devotee. Now he completed that round but did not include it in his sankhya. He started it again. Did everybody understand? So he kept the beads outside, he spoke to that devotee and then continued from there and finished that round, but did not include it in his sankhya of 16 rounds or whatever. So I'm not saying we should do that, but I'm giving this as an example. How particular he was that every name that he chanted, he wanted to give Krishna exclusive attention. If it is divided, my Lord, I will not give this round to you. I will chant it again. Very nice, right? We should respect our devotional practice. Ekena manasa. Bhagavatam says, Tasmad ekena manasa, one-pointed spirit. If we are attentive, if we are absorbed, if we are careful, we can retain a lot also. Sometimes students ask this question. We are not able to remember. We are not able to remember because we are distracted. We are distracted. In any class, we should sit and hear so attentively. In fact, one senior devotee was once mentioning, he was telling me that I don't sit behind in a class. He said, I always go and sit ahead. Why? He said, if I sit behind, my mind is on who is getting up, who is going there, who is going to the bathroom, who is coming late to the class, who is sleeping, who is chanting, who is distracted. This is what my mind is thinking. He said, if I sit ahead, it is only the speaker and me and my notebook. And I'm only paying attention to what the speaker is saying. What happens behind me doesn't matter. So in this way, we can be attentive. At the same time, there's one more etiquette we have to take care. If there are senior Vaishnavas, we should not cross over them and sit in front of them. Like they will sit behind and we sit ahead. No. We should try to sit in a place where the seniors are sitting, but we sit behind, but not extreme behind, so that we get distracted. We should sit in a place where the purpose is attentive hearing. In a class, it is going on attentive hearing. Not looking at our phone, not having side conversations, not looking outside the window, not looking at the clock when the class will get over. We should just be in the moment and attentively hear. In such a way, at the end of the class, we should be able to say what all points were said by the speaker. What was the main point of the class? What were the examples given? What were the short stories mentioned? So, and what is the practical application? Out of that class, when I walk out of that class, what is the thing that I will incorporate in my life from tomorrow? If we are hearing Hari Katha, and if we don't connect that to our sadhana, then it is not bearing fruit. We are hearing Harikatha for two purposes. One, to imprint our heart with remembrances of the Supreme Lord. And second, to make some changes in our sadhana at this moment, so that bad practices are taken away and good practices are improved. This is why we Hari. We don't hear Harikatha to become scholars, to become knowledgeable, or to show to the audience how much we know. This is not the purpose. If this is the purpose, then this is ulterior. This is secondary. This is contaminating. The main purpose of Harikatha is we should know where we are going wrong in our sadhana and what we can do to improve. And at the same time, our determination on the path and our goal should be very clear. And our heart should be imprinted with the thoughts of the Supreme Lord. This is the purpose. So we gave one example. How Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu really appreciated absorption and attention, one pointed attention. She wanted to see Jagannath and nothing else mattered to her. And Mahaprabhu really appreciated. In fact, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Jagannath has been so kind to her to give her this utkantha, this eagerness. Alas, my life is wasted. I don't have this feeling. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. Another example of something that really touched Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's heart. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Sri Rangam in South India, he saw this devotee, a Brahmana, who was reading Bhagavad Gita. And he was reading Bhagavad Gita upside down. And he didn't know how to read properly. But he was somehow reading and others were laughing at him. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, "You're reading and crying, torrents of tears. Literally it's raining. Your eyes are like clouds and there is a rain shower of tears. Are you crying because you're not able to read the Bhagavad Gita properly? Are you crying because they are making fun of you? What is the purpose of your tears? What is the reason? What is the cause?" So the Brahmana said, "Vipra kahe murkha ami, artha nahi jani. Shuddha ashuddha Gita padi guru agya mani." The Brahmana said, "Murkha ami. Oh, I am a fool. Artha nahi jani. I don't even know how to read Bhagavad Gita. I don't even know. I have never learned these syllables before. But the only reason I'm reading, whether it is Shuddha or Ashuddha, proper or improper, the only reason I'm reading is because my spiritual master instructed me. My Guru Maharaj told me that if you read Bhagavad Gita every single day, I will be happy. I don't know how to do, but just to fulfill his instruction, I'm trying." Mahaprabhu said, "That I understand, but then why are you crying?" The Brahmana said, "When I look at the front of the Bhagavad Gita, I see Krishna driving the chariot for his devotee, Arjuna. So till now in all Leelas I have seen the devotee is driving the Lord. Kevat takes Sri Ram across on the boat. Hanuman is taking Sri Ram on his back. Garuda is taking Mahavishnu on his back. You can always see devotees carrying the Lord. Vasudev Maharaj carries Krishna. Right? But in this case, the Lord is carrying the devotee. The Lord is serving the devotee like a driver on a battlefield. Arjuna is the main lead and Krishna is the humble follower. As a servant, he is driving. If Arjuna says right, Krishna is turning right. If Arjuna says left, Krishna is turning left. He who is the worshipable deity of the whole creation, he is moving out of devotion for his devotee. My heart cannot hold this emotion. Therefore, tears are coming out of my eyes. That how merciful, how kind is Sri Krishna. And not just that, to protect Arjuna, he went to battle with Bhishma Dev. Krishna, who had taken a vrat that I will never pick up weapons, he was ready to charge towards Bhishma Dev with a half-broken chariot wheel. Rathangapani. Rathangapani is one of the name of Krishna. Ratha Angapani, in whose hand there is a piece of the chariot, which is the chariot wheel, half-broken chariot wheel. I'm not able to tolerate this. This is too much for me. And when Arjuna is bewildered, Krishna is also pausing and speaking Bhagavad Gita for him. And all the credit is given to Arjun. How kind is Krishna? When the Brahmana started saying this and crying, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced him and gave him Krishna Prem, the love for God. And he said, you have actually understood the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita. The Brahmanas may be knowing how to properly chant meticulously these verses, but they have not understood the Gita like you have. And you have understood the Bhagavad Gita by the mercy of your Guru. And you have got the mercy of your Guru because of your one-pointed absorption in reading Bhagavad Gita. Because of your determination to be one-pointed, not getting distracted. So many reasons to get distracted. People are making fun of me. Let me just give it up. Let me do something that I can. I don't know to read. I don't know even how to keep the book upside down, inside out. Against all odds, being determined, because my Guru Maharaj has instructed me, I will keep his word. How amazing, right? One-pointed determination. If there is one-pointed determination and absorption in serving the spiritual master, in doing sadhana, then Krishna is pleased. There's another interesting story. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Madurai in South India, you see there is a Mathura in North India where Krishna appeared, and there is a Mathura in South India. It's called Madurai. Have you all heard? Madurai in South India. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the Meenakshi temple there in Madurai, there was a Brahmana who invited Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu home for prasad. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to his home. That afternoon, no prasad. That evening, no prasad. Next morning, no prasad. Next afternoon, no prasad. So Mahaprabhu went and asked him, it's already one day, you have not given me any prasad. You invited me for prasad, but where is the prasad? So the Brahmana's reply was astonishing. The Brahmana was such a great Rama Bhakta that he looked at Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he said, oh yes, don't worry. Lakshmana has gone into the forest. He will get some things. Then Mother Sita will cook. Then we all will offer it to Ram. And the remnants of Ram I will give you. I am waiting for Lakshmana to come back. Lakshmana has gone into the forest. He will get some fruits and roots. And then Mother Sita, such an expert cook, she will cook. And we will all offer it to Ram. And after Ram has finished, I will give it to you. I am just waiting. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could not even understand. My God, what level of absorption. The pastime took place millions and millions of years ago in Treta Yuga. And this is in Kali Yuga 500 years ago. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looked at the devotee and he said, what level of absorption? He exclaimed, this level of absorption in the Supreme Lord is so glorious. So glorious. Mahaprabhu looked at the Brahmana and he said, yes, when Lakshmana comes, Mother Sita cooks, Ram accepts, then we will take, no problem. And he was appreciating in his heart that this Brahmana has certainly impressed the heart of Sri Ram with his absorption. Somebody with modern intelligence may think he's gone mad. But the purpose of bhakti is to go mad. It is to go mad. Everybody is mad in this world. Somebody is mad for position. Some politician may be mad to win the election. He will come to all the Babas and say, please give me blessing. आपके आशीर्वाद से अब चुनाव लड़ने जा रहे हैं. We are going to, fight an election. You please give us your blessings. That is when they will remember all the sadhus. That's when they will give all the speeches. After that 5 years, now forget it. The next election we will see. So some are mad after position. Some are mad after making money. They're working 3 jobs. One original job, then one job before the job, and one job after the job. Or one job in the weekend. So 3 jobs like that. Some are doing all night duty. Even if they're sleepy, they're still doing it because they need money or they like to have money. So some are mad after money, some are mad after gadgets, some are mad after having a big palatial home. Some are mad after beauty. They're doing cosmetic surgery, one after another, good clothes and makeup. And some are mad after learning. 1 degree, 2 degrees, 3 degrees, 4 degrees. There are people having 11 academic degrees also. And even more. So people are mad after something or the other. Something or the other keeps us mad. which keeps us distracted from what we have to do. And devotees are also mad. They are mad after the actual person, the actual reason why we should ideally be mad for. Honey is dripping from the feet of the Supreme Lord. Kulashekara Alvar writes in Mukundmala Stotra, Shri Govinda Padam Bhoje Makaranda Mahadadbhutam Yad Paino Namuhyanti Muhyanti Yad Apayinah. Shri Govinda Padam Bhoje Makaranda Mahat Adbhutam. He says the nectar dripping from the lotus of Sri Hari's lotus feet is certainly astonishing. The sweetness, the beauty, the compassion, the mercy, the beautiful qualities of the Lord. It's like honey dripping from the lotus flower of the Lord's feet. And what is the best part about this intoxication? Yad paina na muhyanti. The intoxication of this world is such that if you have it, then you're confused and bewildered and intoxicated. And if you don't have it, you're not. But the intoxication of the nectar of the Lord's sweetness is so great that if you have it, yad paina, if you drink that nectar of the Lord's sweetness, na muhyanti, you will not be bewildered in this world. And muhyanti yad apayinaha, if you don't drink that, then you're bewildered by Maya. So it's an intoxicant. If you drink, it doesn't intoxicate you. And if you don't drink it, then we are intoxicated. Srila Prabhupada would say, the world thinks we are crazy, we think they are crazy. The difference is they are wrong and we are right. They think we are mad, we think they are mad. But the difference is they are wrong and we are right. They are really mad. Those who find for madness outside Krishna, temporary, flickering joy. But to be absorbed in Krishna and taste that nectar is actual reality. So 3 examples we discussed. We discussed the example of the Orison lady. Mahaprabhu appreciated that. We discussed the example at Srirangam and the example at the Meenakshi temple in Madurai. So 3 examples we saw. One more example can be given. Since we mentioned about King Kulashekara, this example can also be given. Now King Kulashekara, it's a long story, but I will just mention some brief details. King Kulashekara lived about 1000 years ago, and he was a very, very great devotee of Sri Ram. He cannot be blamed. Sri Ram's personality is such that for all times to come, from past, present and future, Sri Ramchandra has mesmerized the hearts of millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of devotees. Even stones have melted by the touch of the Lord's lotus feet. Stones have floated by the touch of the Lord's holy name. So much can be said. So King Kulashekara was a king and a saint, and he was a very great devotee of Sri Ramachandra. Every day in his court there used to be reading of Ramayana. So one day they were reading, and the context was the exile of Sri Ram. Sri Ram, one day before his coronation, was banished into the forest. So this was being read. Kulashekara Alvar could not believe that this is happening. He got on his horse in South India and he said, now I will gallop on my horse all the way to Ayodhya and tell Dasharath Maharaj to change his plan, to not send Ram into the forest. This is heartbreaking. Now, others in the kingdom are thinking, what's wrong with our king? This pastime took place 11 million years ago. We know what happens after that also. It's written in the Ramayana. But Kulashekara was hearing with so much attachment to Sri Ram. One pointed absorption. Orison lady, one pointed absorption. The Brahmana reading Bhagavad Gita, one pointed absorption. The devotee Brahmana who invited Mahaprabhu for prasadam, one pointed absorption in the Leela. Now here Kulashekara Alvar, one pointed absorption in the form of the Lord. He couldn't see Ram wearing tree barks and walking into the forest, giving up his kingdom. So he got onto the horse and he told all of us, come, let's go. Let's Drive all the way to Ayodhya and by force we will stop Dasharath Maharaj and Kaikeyi Devi from making such a wrong decision. I as a king, I will tell him. All of you come. Now the problem is there is a big difference in devotional consciousness between King Kulashekara and others. So they are thinking now what to do. So then some came and told the king, oh, the procession has already gone. We will not be able to reach. They've already gone into the forest. Sri Ram and Mother Sita are happy. Don't worry about it. So King Kulashekara came back. He came back into his kingdom. The person who was reading, he realized, I should not read any wrong, or let's say not wrong, but any inauspicious twists in the story. Any bad news in Ramayana, I should not read it because King Kulashekara will get agitated. So he remembered that. He read for a few days. However, one day he was not keeping well. He told his son to read. But he didn't tell him that if there is some bad news in the flow of the Ramayana, don't read it. He didn't say that. Son started reading, and that day the reading was the kidnapping of Mother Sita. Can we imagine? King Kulashekara got so wild with Ravana that he stood up with swords in both his hands. He said, I will cut his hands. I will behead him. I will rip his body. I will fight him all by myself. And I want the whole kingdom to come. We will swim across the ocean and we will go to Lanka. We will kill Ravana and get Mother Sita back. How dare he touch Mother Sita? In no pastime do you see that Lakshmi gets kidnapped and Narayana is crying. Can somebody do that to Nrsimhadev and Lakshmi Devi? Can somebody do that to Lakshmi Devi and Narayana? Have you ever heard that? Somebody kidnapping Radharani, somebody kidnapping Lakshmi Devi from Vaikuntha? Not possible. You think Lord Shiva will sit and tolerate somebody coming and kidnapping Mother Parvati? Unheard of. King Kulashekara started crying tears. Just because my Ram is so kind and merciful, this cruel Ravana, he has taken advantage. He came and cheated Mother Sita as a sadhu. Now you see what I will do. His eyes were getting bloodshot. He was sweating. Tears coming from his eyes in disappointment. And the fact that Ram had nobody there. He was into the forest because of Marich's voice. Lakshmana was in the forest and Mother Sita all by herself was kidnapped. Jatayu had to give up his body. Thinking about all this, King Kulashekara's head was pounding in devotion. He picked up his sword and he ordered everyone, now come with me. We will swim across the ocean and go to Lanka. Now the whole kingdom is thinking what to do. They said, okay, now we cannot oppose him. We have already opposed him once. Let's go. So they went up to the ocean shore, thinking that now we can tell the king that everything is okay and we can come back. But they just stopped. All the elephants, all the horses stopped looking at the ocean. King Kulashekara looked around. He said, if none of you are brave enough, I will go all by myself. With sword in his hand, one hand, and another hand to swim across the tides. Kulashekara jumped into the ocean all by himself. With the desire to cross over the ocean. Hare Krishna. To get Mother Sita back. And as he entered the ocean, he became knee-deep with water, hip-deep with water, chest-deep with water, neck-deep with water. Eyes were also in the water. Head was in the water and the sword was up in the air. And then suddenly people saw even the sword was going in as Kulashekara entered the water deep in. Bubbles were coming on the surface. He was trying to walk through. Trying to swim with a sword in his hand. He was determined. I will go. I will kill Ravana all by myself. And I will get Mother Sita and give her back to Sri Ram. How dare anybody touch the goddess of fortune? Can we all feel the emotion? A glimpse of what he could have felt? We will not be able to feel, but what level of devotion? What level of devotion? He was swimming all by himself. And underwater, he had darshan of Sri Ram. Sri Ram gave darshan to Kulashekara and he said, why do you worry? Look who's there with me. And to the left of Sri Ram was Mother Sita. Sri Ramchandra told Kulashekara the whole story, the remaining part of the Ramayana, after the kidnapping. He said, I built a bridge of stones and I went there. I killed Ravana. The battle is over. Ravana is dead. Mother Sita is back. Look, Sita and Ram, we are happy together. O King, please don't worry. Looking at this darshan, King Kulashekara could not believe. He fainted underwater. And Sri Ram picked up Kulashekara with his own hands and got him on the shore of the ocean. As the whole kingdom saw Sri Ramchandra picking up their king with their own hands, bringing. Why did Sri Ram come to Kulashekara? Because of his absorption. We don't have to enter the ocean. All that we have to do is the service that we are doing. We have to put our heart into it. While making garland for Krishna, we should not be talking about, अच्छा, और फिर दूसरा बच्चा क्या कर रहा है? अच्छा, वो भी इधर ही जाता है कि virtual है अभी भी school? School start हो गया कि क्या कर रहा है? Not like that. Not talking to another Mataji or another Prabhuji and making garland. While making garland, we are making garland. While cooking for our deities, we are cooking for our deities. We can hear class and feel inspired and cook with devotion. While chanting japa, we sit and we chant. Nobody disturbs us. We should chant in such a way that people should be afraid to come and disturb us. With absorption. When we are doing kirtan, we don't do other things, right? While doing kirtan, we are not talking, we are not looking at our phone. So why should we do that during japa? When we are hearing a class, absorption. When we are reading Prabhupada's book, absorption. We can keep a notebook next to us and we keep writing and we take points. Any service that we do, if we are absorbed, tasmad ekena manasa. You see the phrase in the Bhagavatam? First canto, second chapter, 14th verse. Tasmad ekena manasa. If with one pointed spirit we serve Krishna, Krishna is very pleased. What all examples did we give? We started off with the Orison lady. Then, what was the second example? We spoke about the Brahmana reading Bhagavad Gita, right? Third example, the Brahmana at the Meenakshi temple in Madurai. What was the fourth example? King Kulashekara. Now the final example. One time, one disciple of Srila Prabhupada, Jadurani Mataji, you may have heard, very exalted painter. She has painted so many beautiful paintings. She had painted and she had to put a painting on one of the walls of the temple. So she didn't know how to do that. So she climbed up on a Vyasasana to put the painting of Krishna because she couldn't reach there. Immediately some Prabhuji saw, he said, hey, what are you doing? This Vyasasana is a sacred place. You cannot keep your foot there and you cannot climb on top like this. This is offensive. So she immediately got down. But then when later she saw Prabhupada, she asked, Prabhupada, I made a mistake. I'm really sorry. I climbed up on the Vyasasana. Prabhupada said, why? She said, to put the painting of Krishna so that devotees can see. I couldn't reach there, so I climbed on the Vyasasana. Prabhupada smiled and he said, for serving Krishna, what to speak of Vyasasana? You can climb on my head also. No problem. Not that literally we have to climb on somebody's head or on the Vyasasana. But the point is, Prabhupada prioritized a higher principle over another principle. The higher principle is absorption in service. So whatever service if we do, whatever, it's not that speaking Hari Katha on the Vyasasana or leading Kirtan is the best service. Serving the deities, cleaning the vessels of the deities, making garlands for Krishna, even mopping his floor. If you're doing with absorption, thinking that this is the temple of Krishna, and if I clean this, the dust that I collect from here, actually I am collecting so much dust in cleaning my heart. This Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself has said in the Gundicha margin chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mahaprabhu says, in cleaning the temple, whoever collects maximum dust, that person has collected that much dust from his heart, cleaned his heart and collected so much anarthas. So cleaning the temple means cleaning the heart. So this is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So whatever service we do, the main ingredient is not the external service. It is our intention. If we are absorbed, ekena manasa, attentive, one-pointed absorption, then the Supreme Lord is tremendously pleased. So this one principle we can try to incorporate. Our sadhana will really advance by leaps and bounds. Japa, kirtan, study, hearing, everything with absorption. Whatever we do, with absorption. So I'll pause here. If there are any questions or comments, we can take.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you for giving a wonderful class. And I was listening and I was trying to listen to you. The main point, absorption in Krishna consciousness or one-pointed attention role. And I would say that this class is good for not only in the temple settings, it would be everywhere at any university, at any corporation, anywhere we can think of. Because this is good thing we need to learn in our life too. And thank you, Prabhu, for giving the examples like Orishan lady, Srirangam Brahmana, and about Madurai, the Brahmana was not giving prasadam, and King Kulur Shekhara's story, and you said Adurani Mataji, right? So all of them, so nice of you, Prabhu, and I know that there are so many questions and for you, and I would ask them to ask the questions. Can they ask directly or they have to submit?
Yeah, it will be best if they can type it in the chat. So then in that way, we can take more questions. More questions can be answered.
So nice of you. So nice of you, Prabhu. Thank you very much. And devotees, please type in your question on the chat box. Thank you. You can see one question.
Yes. So I'll read, Prabhuji.
Thank
you. It says that Hare Krishna, I feel that I am doing chanting mechanically and my mind flickers. How can I improve and add bhav in my chanting? Sit and chant. Point number 1. Point number 2, chant in the early morning. Distinctly pronounce. Don't rush. Don't worry about the speed of your chanting. Just sit in one place peacefully. Close your eyes. If you're feeling asleep, open your eyes. If you're still feeling asleep, hit some cold water. Wash your face, walk little and sit down again. Sit and chant early in the morning with sweet pronunciation. Think of Krishna and add some devotion and say, my Lord, please let me focus. Let me chant your names, blissful holy names. So in this way, by prayer, by posture, by pronunciation. 3 P's you can remember. By a prayerful mood in the heart, by a very good posture while sitting, and very good pronunciation. We should not, early morning, if we are feeling hungry, we should not eat up the names. We have prasadam later. We should not eat up the names. We should clearly pronounce. Next question. Who serves the Lord in all rasas? The answer is Sri Balaramji. He serves in all rasas. Next question. In the Bhagavad Gita and most of Prabhupada's books, where it is mentioned that the ultimate truth should be perceived through revealed scripture, spiritual master or sadhu only, whereas nowadays everyone focuses on material education, modern science is all studying material universe and matter, which is in itself the energy of Krishna. So shouldn't this be also perceived through revealed scriptures, through spiritual master and sadhu only? And the source from which we get to study is experimental, based on mentally concocted by various scientists, who few might believe in God, some are atheists. So is it appropriate, okay, to study through such source? Traditionally, everything used to be studied through Guru Dev only in the Gurukul. But however, nowadays, if you see, to make money, you have to be in the competitive world outside, right? To chant, like for example, if you're a brahmachari who lives in the temple, or you're a sannyasi or a vanaprasthi who doesn't need money, then you don't have to go through this. But if you decide to be a grihastha Having wife and children, you need a house. And to buy the house or to rent the house, you need money. And to have money, you need to have a job. And for someone to give the job in a competitive environment, you need to have a good education. And the education is counted when it comes through a reputed university. So I think that's the only way out at this point. So next question. A lot of questions have come, so please give me a minute. A lot. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. I will not be able to answer so many questions, but some are not even questions, they're comments, so I'm not sure. Just a minute. Yes, so I got it. Okay. After this, where can we read more pastimes of King Kulashekara? Rudra Prabhu, I got the fortune of hearing this from His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. So you can go to ISKCON Desire Tree, Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj, South India Yatra. You can see the glories of King Kulashekara. That's where I heard it from. Next question, how to become tolerant? Well, life will make us tolerant. We just have to be alive. We just have to be alive and we have to keep chanting. Next question. Can you share some points to practice it? One pointed attention. Whenever we are distracted, we have to take our mind away and focus at the point and keep it there. Whatever comes between us and the activity, we have to take it away. If it's our cell phone, or if it's, let's say we are living in an environment where there are a lot of people, we can go and study in a library, or we can study in a room. We can keep our phones away, not use the internet during that time, or not attend phone calls, etc. Not looking at WhatsApp or Facebook. These are the main distractions. We should sit in isolation and study nicely. Next, when Lord Krishna reciprocates with his devotees, does he do that with neophyte devotees also? Yes. He's doing with all of us. He's giving us more than what we can give him. We give him broken names in our japa, but he still gives us unbroken rotis when we honor prasad, right? So he's reciprocating more than what we can give him. If Krishna started giving us prasadam on the basis of our japa, then we will get burnt rotis, unpolished, uncooked rice, stale rice, right? But Krishna gives us fresh prasad every day, although the chanting may not be first class. Next, can we kindly highlight touching ears at the mention of the holy name? I didn't understand the question. Next question. You said in the okay, how to generate love for Krishna? How to do it love bound rather than duty bound or fear bound? So first of all, we should be bound. Whether it is fear bound or duty bound or love bound, the point is we should be bound in service to Krishna. If we leave Krishna, then that is not good. However, yena kena prakarena mana Krishna niveshayet. Sometimes it is out of fear. I may get an animal body next life. I don't want it, Krishna. Let me chant the holy name. Sometimes it is out of duty. Krishna, you have given me this human form. I should chant. And sometimes you may feel gratitude. Krishna, you have given me so much in my life. You have so much affection for me. And then you may feel like chanting. So either way, whatever may be our situation, we should continue to chant. We should be bound. That's most important. We should not get in the realm of Maya. We should be bound. And Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Nitya Siddha Krishna Bhakti Sadhya Kabunai, Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Kore Uday. That Krishna Bhakti in the heart will become Uday, will rise just by hearing and chanting about it. Next question, how does a Nitya Siddha Mahabhagavat feel humility? He has never committed any sins. Then how can he say that he is most fallen? So, the more one advances, naturally one sees good qualities in others and flaws in oneself. Not that he has committed sins. He always feels that I could have done more. Oh, in my childhood, I wasted time playing. My Lord, instead of that, I could have chanted your holy names. In my youth, instead of chanting 16 rounds, I could have done 32 rounds. I wasted my time. My body was young and youthful, my Lord, I did not serve you. So even small things, he can take and make a big mountain out of it and beat himself down that, my Lord, I wasted time. In natural love. And when others are doing even like a small mustard seed of devotion, out of his love for Krishna, he sees that as a mountain. And he sees, oh, that good quality that they have, this I don't have. My Lord, I'm not able to serve you like they are doing. So in this way, although he's sinless, although he doesn't act fallen, he feels fallen. How to be consistent in our service and control our mind while doing service? Yes, determination is most important. Consistency is most important. It is easy to start something and it is easy to end that. But to keep it going is very difficult. Therefore, you see, creation is taken by Brahmaji only one time. Destruction is taken by Lord Shiva only one time. But moment to moment maintenance of this world, Vishnu does. Because maintenance is very difficult. Consistency is very difficult. And that is what pleases the Supreme Lord. One time, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj took yatra of devotees to one dham. And then this was many years ago, about 20 years ago. And Maharaj took all the devotees to one small temple, not a very prominent place. So then the devotees were wondering, Maharaj, why did Maharaj bring us into this small temple? So Maharaj said, you all may be wondering why I got you to this temple which may not be so famous. I got here not so that you take darshan of the deity, that you must take. But I got you here so that you can take darshan of the pujari. This pujari has been here for the last 60 years, all by himself serving the deity. He was 11 years old when his Guru Maharaj gave him his deities and said, all life you should serve. And now he's 71. He's been in the same place, doing the same service, all by himself. He's not gotten married because he thought if he gets married, then he will not be able to serve the deity with one pointed attention. So Maharaj said, everywhere we go to take darshan of the deity, but here we are coming to take darshan of the pujari because of his consistency. So consistency is certainly very important. If we are consistent, then Krishna is pleased. If we are not consistent, we should punish ourselves. Maybe we should have one meal less that day. If we didn't chant on time, then we skip one meal. In one ISKCON temple, that is the rule. If you don't come for Mangalarti, no breakfast prasad. So that is interesting. How can we wake up early in the morning to chant and perform services? Now, this is fundamental. I will not be able to come home and wake you up. Unfortunately, that's not possible. But alarms are there on our phones, so we can use multiple alarms. Don't snooze it. You can wake up. That has no solution. We have to wake up. One sadhu was explaining that when he was young, his guru would go with a bell in all the rooms and wake all the kids up in the Gurukul. That sadhu was saying when he was young, that was the culture. Still, if somebody doesn't wake up, the guru will come and pull their blanket. Still, if somebody doesn't wake up, then he will pull the child and keep the leg under the tap, cold water. So as soon as the cold water hits the feet, the child would wake up. These are not things that I'm saying must be done. No. Children must be trained in such a way that they can get up before all this only. But I am saying Gurukuls have been so strict in the past. Not that we should do that with the kids. We should encourage and we should motivate the children in such a way, by our own example, that they are able to get up 2-3 minutes even before the alarm. The body should be regulated in that way. We will take one last question. There are 95 messages, so I will not be able to answer all of them, but we will take one last in the interest of time. Hare Krishna, in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, text 7, Krishna says, remember me and perform your duties. But when I do that, I get distracted. I do not know how to understand this principle. So, do your duty and remember me means, now Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. That's the verse. Krishna says that do your duty. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara. Remember me and do your duty. But it's interesting. If Arjuna sits and remembers Krishna, how can he fight? Because if you think of Krishna, the spirit to fight will go away. And if you fight and you look at the opposite, how can you see Krishna there? How can you remember him? So it seems like contradictory. And some people are sending the same message again and again. So my request is please keep it to only one message, because then every alternate message is the same message. Then we will not be able to read the other questions. So what does it mean to remember Krishna and do one's duty? Whatever duty we are doing, we should understand that we are doing that as a duty for our body. There are two kinds of services we can offer to Krishna. One, Deha Dharma. One, Jaiva Dharma. Two kinds of services we can perform to Krishna. Deha Dharma means feeding our children, working a job, getting the money, studying, being a teacher, being a doctor. This is all service to Krishna only. Because society is filled with people, all the jivas are ultimately Krishna's servants. So if you're a doctor, every patient who comes in, you should think that Krishna's devotee has come. And I am doing this surgery or this consultation to a devotee, to help the devotee. They may not know that they are a devotee, but maybe 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 lifetimes from now, they may have Tilak and Kanti Mala. And I may or may not meet them. I may not have a chance to meet them. So now that I have this chance, let me serve them. So every patient who comes in, Krishna is your devotee only. And serving them is service to you. So in this way, Deha Dharma. Apart from that, we do Jaiva Dharma, the dharma of the soul, which is to chant the holy names of Krishna, to remember him, to worship him, and to perform bhakti. So in this way, we can do both our activities. So we will pause here. The request is we can take in this one principle of being absorbed in whatever we are doing. Academic pursuit, we are absorbed. Chanting japa, we are absorbed. Deity worship, we are absorbed. When we are taking darshan of the deities, we are not talking, we are not looking at the phone and trying to take photo. This sometimes happens. While taking darshan, we are more interested in taking photo, and that photo we will never see in the phone. It will remain in the phone only. So instead, we should stand there and try to click photo with our eyes. And the camera film is our consciousness. The deity will be imprinted there. We should sit and stand. We should stand and be absorbed in that moment, taking darshan of Krishna. Okay, so in this way, this is the take-home point. Thank you so much. Back to you, Amal Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Thank you for enlightening us. And more than 100 devotees attended today. And I would say, Prabhu, your every class is important. And every word is like part of wisdom. Today's class is good for even any other settings, as I said earlier, Prabhu. And we need to have absorption in Krishna consciousness, as you said at one point. Thank you very much for enlightening us. And thanks all the devotees who could not answer many of the questions, because there were about 95 or 96 questions. So many appreciations. This class will be recorded. If you have missed anything, we'll post it on YouTube, WhatsApp, and our website. Thanks everyone again for your valuable time and your association. Would like to request His Grace Amarendra Das Prabhu to give us more time for ISKCON Scarborough devotees. Thank you, Prabhu. Our gratefulness to you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.